What's up everybody, it's your boy Hokage here, welcome to the video. Now before I get into this episode review, I need to clarify a few things. So obviously, as all of you know, 2 episodes of Boruto were released today. Now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna review episode 74 on Thursday, which is right now, today. And then I'm gonna upload my episode 75 review tomorrow. I still haven't seen the episode, I just saw episode 74 and now I'm doing a review on it. And on Saturday I'm gonna upload my chapter 27 review. I think the chapter will be out tomorrow or something like that. So basically you're gonna get 3 reviews in 3 days. And during this period, as I announced on my Twitter, I'm not gonna be on Twitter, so in case you're wondering like why am I not replying to anything, it's because I logged out of Twitter because there are many spoilers on Twitter, and I just wanted to avoid that. So as I said, episode 74 review today, 75 review tomorrow, and chapter 27 review on Saturday. Yeah, with that said, let's get into Boruto episode 74 review. To quickly summarize my thoughts about this episode in one sentence, I feel like in terms of plot progression, this episode was fucking perfect in that sense. But the actual content that we were getting for these, 20 minutes, I feel like it could have been better. So with that said, I think you can assume that it's not a perfect episode. Obviously, all of this is my opinion. I believe that the last couple of episodes got like a 10 out of 10 from me. And unfortunately, the streak is going to be stopped today. But that doesn't mean that the episode was bad. I still enjoyed it. But honestly, like sometimes, and I started doing that recently in the last couple of months, I guess. Sometimes I watch the episode 2 times. Not only because I want my reviews to be as good as possible, but sometimes it just comes to me. But honestly, this episode, I tried watching it for the second time and I just couldn't. I was just, checking some parts of the episode that I wanted to like revise for my review, because I do that all the time. I've been doing that since episode 1, I believe. So yeah, that really speaks for itself. Now, in this episode, there was quite a bit of action, and let's just talk about the first fight between Boruto Sarada and Team 10. Now, I did predict that, Boruto and Sarada were gonna get away, but I feel like it was done in a lazy way. Now, people would say, well, it was 4 against 2, they had to beat them. Guys, you need to realize that all of these people are friends. Nobody went all out. Everybody was holding back. It was really an uncomfortable situation because, it's friends against friends. Basically, Boruto is trying to save one of his best friends, and another one of his best friends is trying to stop him, So it really, explains the whole situation. It was fucked up. But anyway, Boruto and Sarada wanted to get away. Now, I'm okay with them getting away, but I feel like more should have been done. Yes, I think somebody from Team 10 said it's really hard because like we can't use any lethal jutsu, but I feel like that was a very poor excuse from the writers. It was like not poor, but it was kind of lazy. They were like, okay, we're just gonna add this line and let's have Boruto and Sarada escape like this. I just feel like it wasn't too realistic, but it's not a huge problem. I get what the writers were trying to do. They wanted Boruto, Sarada, and the others to be, not to enter the Ryuchi cave. That's gonna be for the next episode, I guess. But they wanted to end this episode with a cliffhanger. Basically, they're heading towards the Ryuchi cave. Now, the Boruto series, not only in this episode, but a couple of times, some things in the series, and this is not a huge problem. This is a minor problem. In some instances, like the Nue arc, it was a huge problem at the end. But some ideas aren't executed too well. Why did I mention the Nue arc, Sumira's character arc at the end? Super rushed, unrealistic, stuff like that. I feel like if you want to do so much in like a short period, it's a very hard task. And this episode did feel a bit lazy, as I said multiple times, in some ways. If it was stretched out to 2 episodes, it would kind of make more sense. Maybe we would see more fighting. We would see, more tactical analysis, thinking, or whatever. But no, they wanted to have it in one episode, and it kind of felt just a tiny bit rushed. And that's mainly the problem that I have with this episode, especially when it comes to that first fight between Boruto Sarada and the others. Now, obviously Boruto and Sarada did escape eventually, right? And then, they sent like two shadow clones on one side, and they were running like they went the other side. And then Moegi had to split with her team. That was cool. In this Naruto as a series, it's known for its tactical aspect when it comes to fighting, and not only fighting. That itself wasn't a fight, but it was just a tactical decision, a ninja decision, so to say, and that's something that I always enjoy. And I feel like most people would agree with me that seeing tactics used in such ways, like, it's satisfying, right? Anyway, Moegi goes for the clones, right? And she was, so Suigetsu was there to buy some time. Now, also, this is, I don't want to seem like I'm nitpicking. This itself, this is not going to affect the rating that I'm going to give to this episode. This is just a suggestion that I would do if I was the writer of the episode. So basically, when Moegi was fighting against Suigetsu, or when Suigetsu was buying time, you could kind of see his hair, and it was kind of obvious that it was Suigetsu. I feel like it would have been cooler if he was totally anonymous or whatever, and then at the end of the episode we see him, and then we get surprised. This way, it was like, for a second I was like, who is this? And then I was like, okay, it's Suigetsu. And then at the end of the episode, I'm not surprised when I see him. And I feel like it would have been better if he was kept hidden or whatever. But again, this is not me nitpicking. Nitpicking is something completely different that I never do when it comes to my fucking favorite series. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I mean, if I was the writer, again, what I would do is I would have Boruto and Sarada go solo towards Mitsuki, and then we have this bonding moment between team... between Boruto's team, but this way everybody's going. I'm not saying that it's bad, it's just something that's kind of subjective. And again, I always try to be as objective as possible in these episode reviews, so this is not going to affect the rating. I'm just saying I would have preferred if Sarada and Boruto went for Mitsuki, but doesn't matter, everybody's going. Now, the fact that everybody is going, that's another moment that should have been executed better, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to that second fight, there was, well, first of all, before I, get into the fight itself, I want to mention one moment that I really, really enjoyed. This is possibly my, favorite moment in this episode. It was when Shikadai and Boruto were talking, and, Shikadai makes a fair point, right? And Boruto says, you do have a point. Your argument stands. He says something like that, but then he's like, I still have to go to Mitsuki. And it just shows that Boruto matured in these 74 episodes, because he acknowledges that he isn't right, okay? Shikadai told him what was correct. Boruto acknowledges that, but despite the fact that he acknowledged it, he let his emotions get in the way of his thinking. And he's aware of it. And that's maturity, also intelligence, but mostly character development. I mean, not necessarily in this moment, it's character development when you look at the entire series, because Boruto in episode 1, I doubt that he would say something so mature. Speaking of mature, I feel like it's kind of visible, at least in this episode, that Chocho matured a little bit from the Chocho arc, and I really enjoyed her lines in this episode. None of that food bullcrap, none of those cringy sexual jokes. No, I really, really enjoyed Chocho. I remember at one point she kind of teased Shikadai. I thought that was a great little moment when she was talking to Sarada, and when she had that sad expression for the fact that she had to fight her best friend, but then she was like, like, I need to be tough. That's basically what she was thinking. And as I said, I really fucking enjoyed Chocho. And in case you're new to this channel, you might be confused as to why I'm repeating this so many times, but my old subscribers know what I think about Chocho. So, believe it or not, I'm praising Chocho, and I'm gonna repeat it one more fucking time. Chocho was great in this episode, and I really enjoyed her character and her lines. So yeah, now that second fight, again, I already mentioned the tactical aspect that's, always present throughout the Naruto series. At one point in Shippuden it was about who has the stronger eyes, but still, all jokes aside, the tactical aspect is always there. Sometimes more, sometimes less. And I really, really enjoyed the tactical aspect of the second fight, especially the thing with Inojin and Shikadai when Boruto was gonna attack. Shikadai, but it was actually Inojin. I thought that was great. Now, in case some of you think that Boruto and Sarada got nerfed or anything like that, because like Sarada was caught by Chocho, again, it's a very uncomfortable situation. You're fighting against your best friend. You really don't want to attack her. And she kind of, like, Chocho didn't go all out, but, she did use the expansion jutsu, and that she was stronger than Sarada, I guess. But all in all, I don't think anybody was nerfed. I feel like more could have been done in terms of fighting choreography, the fight itself, throughout this episode. But the second fight was definitely better and more realistic than the first one, especially because, Moegi wasn't there. The first one was just crazy. Like, 4 of them, and they couldn't. Like, I as I said earlier, it's okay that Boruto and Sarada got away, but it should have been done in a more clever way, I think, in a less lazy way. But the second thing was great, Moegi versus Suigetsu, that was, I guess, cool, that little short scene. So yeah, now, before I get into, again, that final moment where Shikadai decides to go with Boruto, I want to mention the little scenes with Shikamaru, Temari. I thought that was great. The little flashback to the conversation that Shikadai and Shikamaru had. And it really shows how fucking intelligent these guys are. Because at one point, I think Shikamaru mentioned how he was suspecting that Boruto might have some type of clue or something like that, which turned out to be correct. Because, despite the fact that Mitsuki is Boruto's friend and all that, it's still like he fucking ran away. Like, I feel like he would run away even if he didn't have any clues. But yeah, I'm just, putting myself, I'm just, talking about Shikamaru's thoughts, right? Temari in this episode, whenever Temari is one of those characters that you give her attention when she's on the screen because of her strong personality. Kushina has that same thing. That's at least how I feel. I could be a little bit subjective here because Kushina is my favorite female character in Naruto. But yeah, strong personalities. And all in all, the little conversation between Shikamaru and Temari wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. I think it was placed perfectly. And I really, really enjoyed it. Now, I mentioned how in this episode we saw how fucking smart Shikamaru and Shikadai are. Well, Shikadai, he pretty much predicted everything that was gonna happen. And by the way, I forgot to mention this. Byakuya Gang arc was mentioned. The incident. Shikamaru mentioned it. He was like, because Temari was like, why are friends going up against friends? And then Shikamaru was like, Shikadai learned something because of that incident. Because obviously during the Byakuya Gang arc, Ryogi was a close friend of Shikadai. I guess they're still friends. I don't know what's going on with Ryogi. The last time we saw him, he was in jail. I hope he's not in jail anymore. Because, Sumire is kind of not in jail. Anyway, going back to Shikadai, Shikamaru mentioned how he matured. Because obviously Shikadai and Ryogi were friends, and that was pretty much mentally killing Shikadai. Not literally, but at some parts in that arc. And he kind of matured from that. And obviously he was able to fight against Boruto to be, he was able to let his emotions aside. At least for a certain period. Because later he changed his mind. Now, the actual moment when Boruto talked to Shikadai and when Shikadai changed his mind, that specific moment, it was like, you could argue that the convincing part should have been a bit longer, that Boruto should have said more, and then Shikadai would barely change his mind. But I'm not gonna say that. However, the fact that so much happened in the episode, because they wanted to progress the plot, which, as I said, they did perfectly, but nothing that happened in the episode before that held any weight, and if it didn't, that moment wasn't too powerful, as it should have been, in my opinion. But anyway, everything that happened after that was like super enjoyable, right? I mean, Shikadai changes his mind, everybody's fucking confused, we get this super funny gag moment. I mean, it was funny to me. And then after some time, Chocho changes her mind because she's like, I want to go with Sarda. And then, you have Inojin. He also accepts, he's like, I don't want to be the only one who stays. And if we get caught, I'm going to say that you two forced me. Like, Inojin, he's such an underrated character. I believe, I'm going to check it actually. Wait, Boruto episode 33 review Eternal Hokage. Hold on. Yeah, it was episode 33 when Inojin got some character development. I was gonna say how Inojin is this chill character with a lot of comedy moments throughout the series, but he also had an individual episode for himself where he had some character progression that makes the viewers bond with him more easily. I mean, like it's logical to me, this concept, right? Similar thing was done to Metal Lee's character recently, I believe in episode 70. And, I feel like Inojin is a great character, not too complex, perfect, or anything like that, but I feel like he's a little bit underrated. And anyway, he has that funny line with, he says that he's going to tell Moyagi that he's being forced to leave. And anyway, all of them go, right, towards the Ryuchi cave. And, again, said it multiple times throughout my reviewing career, the Boruto series has great fucking dialogue. And details like this are what matter to me. Basically, at one point, Shikadai, I think he mentions how we don't know if Haku's Sennin is going to be a friend or an enemy. And then Boruto makes a parallel. He's like, we just fought against you, and now you're going with us. A fucking small detail, but when you review this series as deeply as I do, it fucking matters, alright? And that was a great line from Boruto. Like, without a doubt, my favorite character, my favorite next-gen character. I mean, obviously Sarada being my second. Most of you guys already know this. But yeah, anyway, they go towards the Ryuchi cave, and, basically the episode ends there. Yeah, that was this short scene with Suigetsu, mentioning Orochimaru indirectly, or whatever, doesn't really matter. But basically the episode ends there. Now, again, just to kind of summarize, I said this at the start, that in terms of plot progression, that this episode was perfect, but the content itself, I feel like should have been better, in my opinion. And I see that this video so far is around 16 minutes long. I think that my last couple of reviews were 20 plus, some of them like 22, 23, I think. And it really shows there's not much to say. Like, it's literally a perfect opportunity for me to talk about both episodes in one day. But no, I'm gonna separate these two reviews. I'm gonna watch episode 75 on Friday, not today. And now, okay, let's go back to let's give a rating to this episode. I was gonna give it 8.5 before recording, but I think I'm gonna give it 8.2. It's just above 8, not 8.1, 8.2. Still not 8.5. And if I gave off like a strange vibe throughout this video, I'm sorry, because I feel like I don't know right now. I'm gonna rewatch this video later, but I don't want you guys to think that I was complaining or anything. I was just trying to illustrate the problem that I had with this episode, with the actual content, and how it could have been done a little bit better in a less lazy way. But so I maybe didn't highlight the positives properly, but if you think about it, perfect plot progression, good comedy, good gag moments when they were needed, good tactical ninja aspect thing in the episode, that was good. You had like a couple of symbolic lines with Shikara and Shikamaru and the not Ryogi, but the Shogi thing. Also the Byakuya gang arc was mentioned, which is a nice callback. It reminds us of Shikara's character development. A couple of good lines from Boruto Sarada, as always, super enjoyable, but I feel like she didn't do anything too special in this episode for me to cover it, I guess. And there's this, like, I guess, very warm moment when everybody goes towards Mitsuki, but it just could have been executed better. If the execution was better in this episode, this would easily be, I don't know, like a 9.5 or a 10, depending on the actual execution. But like this way, I'm giving it, 8.2, which is a great score. I can't wait to watch the next episode, which I'm gonna do tomorrow. This is fucking character development for me as well, because as a person, I'm very impatient, and the fact that I can watch the episode, and the fact that I'm choosing not to watch it today, despite the fact that I'm the biggest fan of Boruto in the world, and I'm not even joking. It's fucking character development, character progression, character development. Doesn't really matter. Call it whatever you want. But yeah, anyway, that was your boy Hokage. Twitter and Discord links are in the description below. Also, link to my second channel is in the description of this video. If you're new to this channel and if you're into the Boruto series, consider subscribing. And I'll see you tomorrow in my Boruto episode 75 review. So yeah, bye.